Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Richard, and welcome back to a weekly Watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. This is my focus list going into next week. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section and basically suggest any tickers that you think I should look at before Monday. Starting things off, we've got ABNB. This is building the right-hand side of its institutional due diligence phase. Let me hide this real quick. And you've got really nice sales growth the past quarter here, and it's building a pivot right through 176.96. So I'm watching for some respect for the 21 EMA, this pink line here, and then a push up and break out through this pivot on volume. That would be very promising. Estimate revisions are up. That's great. And we've got a nice increase in fund ownership and a whole bunch of high quality funds invested into the stock as well. So that is ABNB. Definitely one to watch going forward. Also kind of a reopening play as well. And moving on, we've got AFRM. This is definitely short-term extended, but it's basically respecting this previous high here. And I'll be watching for some type of consolidation, pull back into this level on declining volume to basically add to my current position in this name. And overall, really nice sales growth going back the past 4 quarters. Estimate revisions are down, unfortunately, but you've got nice fund ownership already and one high-quality fund in here as well. And these gap ups on earnings with strong closing ranges. Well, actually, this one was on the announcement of a partnership with Amazon, but these gap ups with great closing ranges are basically leadership blueprints that I always like to see on a chart. So that is AFRM. Moving on, we've got AMD building out a double bottom base here. Great earnings sales margins the past 4 quarters. Great estimates for this year and the next, and the estimate revisions are up. And you've got a steady increase in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in here as well. Definitely, once again, short-term extended. The ideal buy point was right through this point. I missed this one, so I have to wait for some type of pullback consolidation into a moving average, a few inside days, so I can manage risk versus that swing low. So I would like to see a little bit of a pullback here, maybe back into the 10-day moving average, and then a push up, maybe buying through this level here or buying against that moving average before this double bottom pivot 114.49. But definitely want to watch. NVIDIA is strong as well. I just kind of like the chart of AMD a little bit more, and we'll see what happens next week. Moving on, we've got a recent IPO. I do have a position from this level right here. I think my buy was 49.64 or so. Great earnings sales margins the past quarter. Not too much information in terms of estimate revisions, but it is supposed to be profitable in 2022. You've got 2 funds in here at this moment. No high quality funds reported just yet, but really good relative strength last week, and really moving up the right hand side sharply within this IPO base, stage 1 IPO base, with a standard pivot of 62. And you could have drawn a pretty steep DTL and got in right on this day. If you go to a 60-minute chart, you can really see a dry up in volume right before it took off. So this is a hallmark of IPO bases. Definitely, I like to try to get in close to this turning point, but I ended up getting in at a pretty good cost right through this level. So we'll see basically how it acts. I do want to see it hold 50 at the very least and build out something and make a push towards those all-time highs. That is BROS. And moving on, we've got Coinbase, and you can see a really strong push into the end of last week on Thursday and Friday. Great earnings sales margins past 4 quarters, basically Zoom level numbers here, and great estimates for this year. Not so much for 2022, although the estimate revisions are up. A nice increase in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in here as well. Once again, 100% short-term extended. The low risk entry was kind of through these pivots here. But if it does go quiet and tight for a few days here, maybe the general market pulls back and has a little bit of a stress test, this could be one to get in on an oops reversal or some type of reversal setup below the 280.61 level here. And we'll have to see if this can build out a big U shape within this first longer term base. So that is Coinbase, definitely one to watch, especially because of the crypto theme. Moving on, we've got ENPH, one of the many strong solar names at this point. Great earnings sales margins the past 3 quarters or so. Estimates are strong for this year and the next, although estimate revisions are down. Nice increase in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in here as well. It's got a little bit of a pivot right through this level before the double bottom base. This is a decently long base. It's been basing for quite a while. It had a really strong run in 2020 and pretty much has been basing since. And I want to see a push up on volume through this level, ideally taking out the pivot at the same time, and then a move up towards all-time highs. But this is one I'm watching here. Definitely a favorite. I've traded this one well in the past, And I've also got FSLR, which is closer to all-time highs, also forming out a similar pivot right below all-time highs. So decent earnings on this one the past 2 quarters. Not quite as strong numbers as ENPH, but still pretty decent. Steady increase in fund ownership, although no high quality funds in this stock just yet. Moving on, we've got Gdyn. Great earnings, sales margins the past quarter, great estimates for this year and fall through in 2022. Nice steady increase in fund ownership and one high quality fund in there as well, as it tries to form out a little bit of a flag here. I like how it stayed pretty tight, even given this pretty much 100% increase from this first stage base. I'll be watching for it to basically give me an entry here. It is a little bit short-term extended, but pulling back into 30 and going to a 60-minute chart, it's pretty tight here. So maybe we gap down Monday and this has an oops reversal through these ranges. That could be an entry either through the lows or through confirmation through these highs. And you've also got a pivot right at this level. So this is definitely one to watch, shown a lot of strength recently. I don't see many people talking about this name, but it is one that's on my radar and it is in a leading group at this moment. Moving on, we've got MNDY, Monday.com. Great sales growth the past 4 quarters. Estimate revisions are down. It's not yet profitable here, but you've got a lot of funds already in this one and 3 high quality funds in here as well. And that's pretty apparent given the chart, because look at this power up the right hand side from this first base breakout here. And now it's forming a stage 1 consolidation, a standard pivot of 425.84, depth of 25%. That's pretty darn good. And it's holding that 50-day at this moment. So it needs to tighten up a little bit, form some pivots. You can manage risk versus the 50-day here or the 21 EMA even. But I do want to see a clear pivot before I enter this one, maybe using this high. And I want to see a push out on volume, managing risk at these swing lows or the moving averages. So that is Monday. Moving on, we've got SI also going along with the crypto theme here. And you can see really strong numbers the past 3 quarters. Estimates are strong, although estimate revisions are down. You've got a nice steady increase in fund ownership and 2 high quality funds in here as well. And this was a frustrating one for me. I traded well. I bought it really nicely on this day right here as it moved up through the prior day's high. Caught this run, but got stopped out here on some gap downs. Definitely frustrating, but it's setting back up a long-term base here. The early entry was through these type of pivots, but now it's right near all-time highs, consolidating, and I want to see it tighten up, form some tight ranges, and this actually does have earnings on 2 days, so I'll probably be waiting until after that event before potentially taking up a position, but I'm watching for some type of setup, reversal entry, or a breakout through these highs. So that is SI, Silvergate Cap Corp. And moving on, we've got Skin, another really strong name here that held up well during the general market correction. Really strong sales and margins the past quarter, not yet profitable. And you can see it's just supposed to be profitable actually in 2021 and 2022, although estimate revisions are down for next year. And you've got a really nice increase in fund ownership and 1 high quality fund in there as well. Overall, it held the 50-day moving average pretty well. Didn't have a great Friday and not a great Thursday either with a poor closing range. So I want to see some type of range to form, maybe some inside days, and then a push up, managing risk at these lows, maybe buying through these pivots. So that is Skin, Beauty Health Co. And moving on, we've got Snap, also has earnings, I believe, on Thursday in 4 days here. Great earnings, sales margins the past 4 quarters. And you can see it's just supposed to be profitable in 2022, although estimate revisions are down. Nice increase in fund ownership and a whole bunch of high quality funds in here as well. And pretty much it's done absolutely nothing since its last earnings gap up. So we'll have to see how it acts this time around, but just a lot of chop here. But this basically is what pins looked like before it took off. So I'll be watching this one pretty closely. And recently it has shown some relative strength, and an overall RS rating of 95 is nothing to complain about as well. So definitely want to watch. I wouldn't mind for it to pull back below this pivot, tighten up here, and then maybe bounce off these moving averages, the 50-day, one more time. Moving on, we've got another recent IPO. You can draw over this pivot, and it's basically right at that point at this moment. Great growth numbers a few quarters ago. Estimate revisions are decent. They're down for 2021, not apparent for 2022, but the annual EPS growth is strong. And you've got 18 funds at this moment, but no high quality funds just yet. And it's currently within that first IPO base. Going over to a 60-minute, it is finding respect right at these prior pivots. So we'll have to see if this confirms and pushes through 17.5 on volume. And this could be one to watch pretty closely early in to next week to see if it respects this level, forms a range, and breaks out, managing risk right at these swing lows. Going back to a daily, definitely one to watch. A downside reversal on Friday, although on lower volume, and we'll have to see how this reacts. IPOs are very volatile. Moving on, we've got Zoom Info, which is still trying to break out of its turbulence zone here, basically trying to move out of the zone right near its previous IPO high. And going over to a daily, it did see some distribution here, but it found support right near its prior base high and retook the 50-day here and is short-term extended. But if it forms some more inside days, maybe declines a little bit back into the 21 EMA, let that catch up to price, it could be a good buy through these pivots as it tries to break out towards all-time highs. So once again, this is my focus list going into next week. I already do have a decent amount of exposure with a few names, including AFRM, Bros. So I'll have to see how those act as well. But I'll be pretty selective with any new buys, given we are a little bit short-term extended at the moment. So that's pretty much my focus list going into next week. Let me know your thoughts down below. What is your favorite setup out of this list? What is a name I should be watching for next week as well? Let me know down below. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.